Welcome everyone to the channel. My name is MrHurriicane, and it's time once again to make my franchise announcement. We are here on Madden 19, and this has been the toughest year for me to decide on who my team is going to be. It normally doesn't take this long, but there were so many great options this year. I look at teams that have a good blend of talent that we can have some fun with right away, but also I want to be sure that I'm drafting and acquiring a lot of the players that develop the team and take them where they need to go. My decision has now been made, and now it's time for you to find out who is my team in Madden 19. The Miami Dolphins are my team this year. We're heading down again to the Sunshine State for another franchise, heading to the AFC East. This division had 3 teams that I considered using, but Miami is my choice because I love the situation that they're in and what it's going to do for the franchise. That means we're up against the Buffalo Bills, who have an uphill climb in the same division, with the Patriots, of course, at the top. The Bills started over this year at the quarterback position, and they've got a long way to go. The Jets also spent their first-round pick on a quarterback, and they're trying to get a core to build around. And then you have the New England Patriots, the dynasty of the past 2 decades. They have owned the AFC East for far too long. Our goal is to bring the Miami Dolphins back to prominence. Since 2001, they've only made the playoffs twice. In one of those years, Tom Brady missed almost the entire season. So what do we have to work with here in Miami? Well, offensively, I think there's a good young group of playmakers here. There's an offensive line that needs some work, and we're going to talk a lot about Ryan Tannehill today. Defensively, there are a couple more young talents I'm excited to build around. There are some good veterans along the defensive line, and the secondary could use a bit more work. Adam Gase is the head coach, and there is some development that needs to be done so we can get players that fit this scheme and then take this scheme to the next level. When you look at this Dolphins roster, they have a lot of great veterans like Cameron Wake, Rashad Jones, and Josh Sitton. They're relying quite a bit on these players, and that's both a good thing and a bad thing. Rashad Jones is an excellent safety, one of the best in the NFL. I'm excited to have a strong safety who has this all-around skill set and doesn't really have a weakness I have to worry about. On the defensive line, Cameron Wake is there, and he's been a great pass rusher now for nearly a decade. At the same time, I do wonder if this is his last season, or maybe he has a couple more years left to go. The Dolphins got lucky this offseason that the Bears released Josh Sitton. The offensive line was not good last year, and it's better now, but it's far from complete. Back to defense, you have William Hayes, who is 33 years old and one of the more underrated players in the league. He can stop the run, he can get to the quarterback as well. We will definitely find ways to use his skill set. Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback, and I cannot believe he's already 30 years old. He lost all of last season to an ACL tear. And a big decision I need to make in this series is if we're going to build around Tannehill or if we're going to find another quarterback. I do worry about his development being 30 and still a 78 overall. When it comes to young players we can build around, here's right tackle Jawan James. He is in the final year of his contract, but a very key part of this offensive line, especially being as good of a pass blocker as he is. At wide receiver, there are some good players like Kenny Stills, who is 26. He is a deep threat, and Ryan Tannehill has one of the better deep accuracy ratings in the NFL. Last year was not fun for Dolphins fans, but they did get to see the emergence of running back Kenyon Drake. He offers a very athletic skill set, and I'm excited to have him as the lead running back. Also in this offense, there's wide receiver DeVanте Parker, who's flashed some great potential, but he has had trouble staying on the field. There are some key players on this team like Josh Sitton and DeVante Parker who don't have very good injury ratings. On defense, they made a great first-round pick this year, in my opinion, in selecting Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the more versatile defensive backs from this past draft class. I'm excited to use him in a variety of roles. Also on defense, there's second-year pass rusher Charles Harris. This team mainly relies on some veteran pass rushers, including Robert Quinn, but Harris should be a great player moving forward. Also from this past draft class, they selected Mike Gesicki in the second round at 42nd overall. Gesicki's a very athletic tight end, he's a field stretcher, he is what teams tend to look for at the position these days. A great story for this team is Frank Gore returning to Miami where he played his college football, and this could very well be his final year in the NFL. I think he complements Kenyon Drake very well, but there's another player who's going to try and take those snaps in Kalen Ballage out of Arizona State. Ballage brings a great skill set of speed and power to the table, and I definitely look at him being one of the key players down the road for this team, especially considering he also catches the football really well. RAEKWON McMillan is the middle linebacker for Miami. He lost his entire rookie season to an ACL tear, but I think McMillan's skill set gives us a great player to build this defense around for the long haul. I think Miami's roster situation is a fairly unique one. They're relying on a lot of veterans, but at the same time, this team isn't exactly playoff ready, at least in my eyes. Maybe they could get into the wild card hunt early on, but I think there's a lot of work for this team to do defensively and along the offensive line. There are some terrific players that we have to start, but a lot of them might not even be on the team after a couple seasons. It's very possible that Cameron Wake, Frank Gore, Josh Sitton, and maybe even William Hayes retires after a couple of years. Or maybe they're not the same caliber players. So we have this dilemma of having some great veteran talent, but also needing time to develop some younger talent. It doesn't exactly mesh well together as far as short-term success goes, but I'm excited to see how this journey unfolds either way. I hope you are excited for my upcoming Madden 19 Miami Dolphins franchise. Leave your thoughts on my team selection down below in the comments. We're going to go through some practice here in just a moment, but I did want to talk about one more thing. Today on my second channel, I debuted a brand new series, the Marquise Walker Quarterback Career Mode series. For those of you that watched my Kalispell Dynasty, you are very familiar with Marquise Walker, who was our quarterback back in Season 1 through Season 4. I wanted to do something unique this year with Career Mode, and Marquise Walker is starting off his NFL career as a backup with the New York Giants, and I have no idea where his journey is headed, but if you are at all interested, check out episode 1 on my second channel. Much more on the way. The next episode will be posted tomorrow. Let's get back to Miami now. It really feels good to have this franchise decision finally made, and this year I'm expecting us to have a very interesting series. First of all, discussions with teams have to start at the quarterback position. Ryan Tannehill is one of those quarterbacks where you're not quite sure if he is the guy you want to build around or not. He and Andy Dalton fall into that category, and they'll have performances that are typical of a starting quarterback and results that are less than a starting quarterback. So that's kind of where I think that Season 1 kicks off, is Ryan Tannehill's return, and then trying to figure out, is he the guy that we're going to build around for the duration of the franchise? Which, by the way, I can't say for sure how long the series is going to go. The Bears franchise did not go as long as I had wanted. So all I can say is that I want to really give you guys a great franchise this year, and how long it is depends on, how fast we start, how many issues there are with Madden this year, and how engaged all of us are. But I think it's going to be a bounce back year as long as we get some good sliders. I know today I was playing some of the Marquise Walker series and practice here, and I felt like it was the smoothest gameplay I had seen on Madden 19 so far. There are still some things that are rough around the edges, but I'm hoping that the game improves here still before we even get the franchise underway. But I'm not sure if we can expect another update. We just got a massive update yesterday that didn't address everything that's wrong, so I'm not sure when the next one's going to be released or what it's going to be focused on. So right now I'm just concerned with getting sliders right, making sure there aren't any issues that I have to worry about. I know somebody talked to me about Super Bowl XP being a huge problem, so I gotta see if that is a widespread issue and if there is a workaround. I do assume that there is a workaround. My thought is that I could put XP sliders at 0 for every position during Super Bowl week. That would be one possible workaround if it is a big problem. Apparently there were a lot of players on Super Bowl teams just boosted up and overall to like the 90s. So that's a bit ridiculous, obviously. I will be doing more streams with my Tennessee Titans Fantasy Franchise series, and I'm going to find hopefully a good slider set for us to play on. I do expect to still go with All Madden this year because I pretty much have to every year, and nothing changed dramatically enough in Madden this year to make me think All Pro is the new way to go. I'm enjoying Mat 10 sliders though on All Pro for those of you that are wondering. He also has an All Madden set, and I'll definitely check it out. Also, I'll be checking out charters like I have for a number of years. I'm excited to get to use some of the new features in Franchise because there are some new things this time around. I like that this team doesn't have a perfect scheme fit to start out, so we can work on building towards the schemes for head coach Adam Gase. I like the new player archetype upgrade system. I feel that's going to be a very interesting dynamic in the series for when we're trying to develop players, but we can't focus on specific ratings, especially just like putting all of our XP into a couple key ratings. That's no longer possible. For custom draft classes, my plan is to include some of the college players from my past dynasties, and I'm going to have my friend Blackjack create those files for me so I don't have a look at any ratings for the draft class prior to actually drafting. Speaking of draft classes, I still will be making a draft class on PS4 for those of you that want to get a franchise going. If you've wanted to have a draft class custom with some of my prospects, I know there is one up on the share right now. I think it's called like MrHurriicane All Time or something like that. I still have yet to check it out, but I will make one for you myself. It's not going to have like a million prospects or anything, but I at least want to give you a few options for you from past dynasties if you want to draft anybody that you've seen from a past series. For the Dolphins franchise, I basically just want to start it whenever we have sliders ready. I am not waiting on a specific time for rosters or anything. I do like the new release date for Madden being very early in the preseason, so I probably will play through preseason this year unless it takes a long time for the series to get underway. In past years, I have skipped the first preseason because the real NFL's preseason has already happened, and then we get into Madden, and it just doesn't seem right to jump right into preseason. But this year we might actually do that. It all depends on when we can start, especially with this being the pivotal week 3 during preseason. I will probably use a roster, one of the recent updated ones from like week 2 of the preseason, so I will have pre-existing injuries turned on. I can also just save this roster as a separate file, so it won't be overwritten by any other EA updated rosters. Like I've mentioned, this was a really tough decision to make, and I felt like there were a lot of teams that gave me what I look for in a good franchise team this year. And every time I would lean toward one, it's like, well, then I can't use this team or these players or have this situation. I was really enticed by playing in the NFC again just by how difficult that conference is. There are so many playoff caliber teams. The AFC might not be on the level that the NFC is on, but it's at least getting better. I feel that the AFC East might take some time to eventually get there as a competitive division, but we'll see how things go. This Miami roster is one that I like. They've drafted a number of players that I enjoyed watching in college, and I like their roster situation and the challenges it's going to present me. So hope you're excited for the Miami Dolphins franchise here on Madden 19. I hope we can start this thing very soon, and I will keep you updated through my community posts, and I'll be talking about it in content leading up to the actual start. So thank you all for watching. Leave your feedback below. Please smash that like button if you are excited for the franchise, and subscribe so you don't miss when it actually debuts. And I'll see you again later. Have a great day.